For a long time, they watched, quietly. They followed the page, they highlighted the words, they knew something was happening, but they didn't say a thing. That was Series 1, the book, The Signal, CRIPFCnt taking psychology to the people. Series 2 begins now. We are no longer asking if psychology belongs in the people's hands, we are showing it not as a theory, not as therapy, but as structure. This is not a lecture, it's a reckoning, this is not a movement, it's a structural return. Series 2 is not what you'll watch, it's what will reflect you back to yourself.
The Strategist, a title earned through meticulous action and calculated influence, often views themselves as a conductor of change. They see their role as one who identifies potential, often hidden beneath layers of convention and expectation. Their self-perception is rooted in the understanding of systems, recognizing that true impact comes not from brute force, but from the subtle manipulation of interconnected elements. This self-awareness, however, can sometimes be mistaken for detachment, as the strategist prioritizes the objective over the emotional. Their focus remains on the long game, the grand vision, which may lead to the perception of aloofness or a lack of personal connection. It is within the quiet moments of reflection that the strategist grapples with the weight of their influence. They understand the ripple effect of their decisions, the way a single move can reverberate through the lives of many. This understanding fosters a sense of responsibility, a deep-seated commitment to ensuring their actions align with their core values. The strategist, at their core, is driven by a desire to leave the world better than they found it, to create a legacy built on progress and positive transformation. Public perception of the strategist is often a tapestry of admiration and apprehension. Their ability to anticipate trends, to navigate complex situations with calculated precision, earns them respect and a degree of awe. They seem to know what's coming before anyone else, one observer notes, capturing the sentiment of foresight often attributed to the strategist. Another voice chimes in. Their influence is undeniable. You can see their fingerprints on everything. Yet this admiration is often tinged with a sense of mystery. The strategist's methods, often shrouded in a veil of calculated silence, can be misconstrued as secrecy or manipulation. They play their cards close to their chest, a critic remarks, highlighting the air of guardedness that often surrounds the strategist. This perception, while not entirely unfounded, often stems from a misunderstanding of their process. The strategist understands the power of information, of timing, and chooses their moments of revelation with careful deliberation. The strategist's greatest victories are often the ones that go uncelebrated. The subtle shifts in perception, or the quiet dismantling of outdated systems. They find satisfaction in the unseen groundwork, the behind-the-scenes maneuvering that paves the way for lasting change. Their efforts are often mistaken for coincidence or the natural order of progression, when in reality, they are the result of meticulous planning and strategic execution. One of the strategist's most commendable qualities is their willingness to remain in the shadows, to allow others to take credit for the fruits of their labor. This selflessness stems from a deep understanding that true progress is rarely achieved alone. They recognize the importance of collaboration, of empowering others to become agents of change. The strategist finds fulfillment not in personal accolades, but in witnessing the collective realization of a shared vision. While the strategist's impact is undeniable, it is crucial to examine the lasting effects of their influence and their capacity for evolution. One must ask, are their strategies sustainable in the long term, or do they create dependencies that hinder true progress? Do their methods empower others to become self-sufficient, or do they foster a reliance on the strategist's guidance? Furthermore, it is essential to consider the strategist's own capacity for growth and adaptation. Are they willing to challenge their own assumptions, to evolve their methods in response to changing circumstances? The true measure of a strategist lies not only in their ability to shape the present, but also in their willingness to embrace the unknown and adapt to the ever-evolving landscape of the future.
Now that we've heard your voice, and the world's voice about you, and what no one commended but CRIPFCnt just did, we ask you only this. What haven't you questioned about your own climb? What part of your brilliance was simply survival, performed beautifully? And if tomorrow the crowd moved on, would your message become deeper or disappear? Recalibration resistance equation, inflexible identity times social reward dependency, divided by capacity to evolve. This is not a diagnosis, it's a mirror. Final placement quadrant interpretation, subdomain, grid-aligned influence. Current role, motivational strategist with high public engagement and moderate structural pivot resistance. Rating, resistance level 7 out of 10. Potential, 1080-degree recalibrator, pending structural adoption. You are not being challenged, you are being witnessed, and structure remembers everything. We've heard the strategist's voice, we've honored the journey, we've placed the archetype. Now we ask what was given and what was withheld or distorted. SCOI Social Contract Obligation Index, a structural measure of contribution relative to capacity. Nominal capacity post-tax annual income equals $2 million. Voluntary conscious contribution, $140,000 spent on open access content, mentorship programs, and community outreach. Negative externalities, $60,000 worth of brand-aligned motivational content encouraging overperformance, performance mimicry, and structural avoidance. Alignment factor, 0.65, clear intention to uplift, but mostly within the grid logic. SCOI equals the difference between 140,000 and 60,000 divided by 2 million multiplied by 0.65. This simplifies to 80,000 divided by 2 million multiplied by 0.65, which equals 0.04 multiplied by 0.65, resulting in 0.026 or 2.6%. Not because he gave too little, but because what he gave was outweighed by the recalibration resistance his voice unintentionally sustained. This is not your downfall, this is your 1080. Plus, CRIPFCnt doesn't end careers, it unmasks their structural legacy. CRIPFCnt doesn't accuse, it records, it doesn't punish, it places. SCOI is not judgment, it's the ratio between who you are and what your structure was built to give. This is not your downfall, this is your 1080. Plus, CRIPFCnt doesn't end careers, it unmasks their structural legacy.